we're live. Hey guys, welcome to this week's Crypto Monday. Welcome. Today is Memorial Day for those of you who are in the USA. If you're not, well, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I have with me Fernando Rivero. He is the Miami chapter president for BlockTech. Fernando has had a very interesting ride in the crypto space. I've known Fernando for a couple years now. He's been a good friend of mine. Sorry if you hear his kids in the background. He has the cutest little daughters ever. But I know everyone's at home right now, stuck in quarantine. No one's at their offices. But hopefully the states are opening up soon, and maybe it's opening up soon where you guys are too. But Fernando, can you please introduce yourself and tell me what we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Fernando Rivero. Thank you, Annalise, for the amazing introduction. I've been in the crypto blockchain space for, I'd say, a little bit over 5 years now. I started attending a lot of events and noticed that some of the events weren't really geared towards Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And we started doing events locally, expanded across multiple cities and countries. And we started doing conferences as well. So in Miami last year, we hosted Mining Disrupt. A little bit under 600-700 people attended. And we're just looking to really educate people in blockchain and cryptocurrency and hopefully build out the network as fast as possible. As far as what we're going to talk about today, I would love to talk about a virtual event that we'll be doing. You'll see the banner behind you all called Do You Mine? What we're really talking about, or what we would like to address, are really two pieces. One, the future of mining and where it's going, and is, the sustainability around it. And at the forefront of what I really want to talk about at those events is kind of demystify some of the myths around staking and mining and how difficult it truly is. I think if folks understand it a little bit better, the barrier of entry would be, minimal. And it would potentially also help grow the network or make it more efficient. So I'm hoping, we can have you all attend the event. It's going to be a 2-hour event on the 18th. And if anybody has any questions on what we might potentially be talking about, I'd be more than happy to answer any questions or talk about some blockchain or cryptocurrencies, anything you'd like to speak about. So
for the event, you kind of mentioned it. Taking is free for anyone in VR because we are trying to push for VR. VR is kind of a growing community here, so I'm really happy that it's going to be free for anyone in VR. And then there's another option. I think it's a webcam option. What's that option for?
Right. So we will have the event in VR, but there are some folks that will need to potentially participate through Zoom chats. So for the folks that want to actually participate in the Zoom chat and not through VR or watching the stream, we have provided an option where folks can actually join in the Zoom session and ask the speakers direct questions. It's pretty interesting when you're meeting some of the people that are speaking specific to mining and you're able to answer or ask a quick question that you may have on the fly, especially if they've said something and you may not understand it. And it kind of helps clear the air there. So it definitely adds value. Plus, you'll be able to network with the speakers. So for anyone who's interested in that, we have those packages available. We are definitely pushing VR as much as possible. I really want to grow the network as much as possible through VR as well. So I think it's an awesome platform, and I think what we've got here is great. So if we can continue building on that and have more people interacting and engaging, I think it'd be great.
Okay, so as someone who's not a miner like me, can you explain to me, how mining exactly works? I've never mined a day in my life. I know back in 2017, everyone was mining on their phones, and I read about that craze. And, I remember Apple banning people and not allowing them to mine anymore. And, that whole situation had come about, but I kind of missed that train. That's first when I was like getting into crypto, so I didn't really know anything about mining or how mining worked or facilitated the ecosystem. But after this recent happening, I know the block reward got smaller, but like, how do miners get incentivized after that reward just keeps getting smaller? Like, will this actually affect how Bitcoin will function one day. Will Bitcoin be sustainable if mining's not around? Like how like I have so many questions.
So that's actually a common question. There's a lot of, I guess, there's a lot of folks that are scared that once the last Bitcoin is mined and people are not incentivized to mine, that essentially the network would go down and trades would never get approved in time or would be extremely slow. What is known is that at that point, or the expectation is two things. One, can Bitcoin shift similar to an Ethereum platform where maybe they go to proof of stake? That could be a possibility. Two, the second option would be incentivizing the miners through the transaction and the approval of the transactions. So at that point, the expectation is the network's going to be so large and there's going to be so many trades occurring per day that if you pay the miners with a fraction of those transactions, you would still be able to keep the network up. So instead of paying them through mined Bitcoin, you'd be paying them through fees on the network.
Okay, that makes sense. And actually, I have another question based kind of ricochets off that. I've recently been understanding how I don't know if you guys have heard of the Lightning Network. Basically, it's a method to which you don't necessarily need to pay fees in order to send your Bitcoin. So I was hearing like most things would be, I guess, onto the Lightning Network or backed onto the Lightning Network. And if we take away those fees, how does it affect the mining ecosystem now? People are jumping onto the Lightning Network and no longer going through regular transactions and paying those regular fees. Be on an exchange, sure, but you know, from a Lightning wallet, I used it once so far, and you know, there's no fees. The fees the other day for me to send $10 was $4, which is why I started looking into Lightning. I thought that was, you know, absolutely outrageous. But how would this affect, I guess, the network?
So I'm a fan of Litecoin. I'm definitely interested in that. I think that I don't think fees will ever be gone. And the reason that's going to happen is because at a certain point, there's going to be a value in me paying gas to get something done faster than someone else. So I do think that for certain folks, paying gas or paying a transaction fee will just always be there. But yeah, I do feel that for smaller transactions, quicker transactions, Lightning Network is definitely cheaper. They also mine. What they've done is they have a lot more supply of tokens. Therefore, the expectation is it'll take longer to finish mining. I'm not sure how removing the fees is going to, I'm not sure how it's going to impact it in the future, to be honest, once the last Litecoin is mined, let's say. But I mean, I'm interested. I buy LTC. It's one of the things that I hodl as much as possible. So I'm definitely in agreement that it's going to potentially show its stripes. I've always felt that LTC could be the dollar for the Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin being digital gold and Lightning Network being that quicker, faster way, cheaper way to transfer quickly and easily.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I see that point. I mean, if people find value in something, obviously they'll cop up some funds to, you know, pay fees and all that. But I saw something interesting the other day, and it was regarding miners and banks and getting funding for equipment. I kind of wanted to see your insight on this. So I was reading an article, and the article essentially was talking about how banks don't really lend money to projects or company that have to do with cryptocurrency or Bitcoin, you know, for regulation purposes, you know, what have you. And I saw an article regarding Tether and how Tether was the way that they mint their money, because as we know, Tether has, you know, printed a lot of random money that a lot of people don't know where it came from. And that's been the talking stock of the community. But what I realized is that money also includes loans, apparently. And if Tether gives someone like a miner a loan, that counts under what they have on the back end of their equity, which is how they're considered to be a stable coin, because they consider those loans to be part of the pool. And apparently what they do is they lend money out to miners to buy their equipment. And there was an argument being made saying that Tether is almost essential to funding a lot of these miners, that are just getting into the game, or, smaller companies that are starting up.
I lost you there at the end.
Yeah, sorry, I somehow was muted. Yeah, I was just trying to see how do you feel about miners supposedly needing Tether to fund them or get them, their equipment in.
Yeah, well, you bring up a very interesting point. Right now, when it comes to mining, there's a lot of let's call it derivative trading that's coming up now. Folks are loaning on the expected mining of currencies. So for the story that you provided, Tether's definitely doing that. But people are actually selling the coins as well in advance. So think of like futures trading for tomatoes. I'm a farmer. I'm going to have a certain amount of tomatoes done at the end of the month. I don't know if the price is going to go up or down at the end of the month, but I'm willing to sell all my tomatoes at 30 cents. As long as somebody commits to pay me 30 cents when the tomatoes are done, I'm going to sell it to them. And I'm happy with that price. So they're kind of doing the same thing from a crypto perspective, where I'm going to have a certain amount of Bitcoin at the end of 3 months. I'm going to take that lump sum amount and I need to pay some of my bills. So I'm willing to sell 30% of it. Okay, I'm going to have this much ready. Is anybody willing to pay me now for that amount in the future? And I'll take that money. I'll pay my bills. I can potentially pay. It's tough for the startup aspect of it because the run rate is kind of longer. I see this model more in established companies, more so than anything, or companies that have an existing plant and they're looking to expand. So I know Tether's definitely doing that with people that have 5 megawatts, 15 megawatts, and they want another 5, they want another 10, and they're looking to build out, but they don't want to put up the money up front. They already have facilities that are providing a certain amount where they can kind of lean on if they need to. But I do think it's interesting. It's definitely something that I wanted to talk about during the Do You Mine conference, because I think that's kind of potentially paving the way for a different type of, I guess, trading platform, because now you're kind of trading crypto futures, and how much is that going to impact price, or how much is that going to justify or solidify a price, right? So if you've got Bitcoin trading at 10K and it jumps from 10K to 20K in 2 hours, how is that going to impact
2 hours? Huh? Oh, the day that Bitcoin jumps from 10,000 to 20,000 in 2 hours is the day that will break the internet. Okay, I'll tell you that much.
Well, man. I mean, it's going to happen. Those jumps are going to happen, and how much is it going to impact the futures market? And if it doesn't, or if it does, how much will they impact each other? So I think it's going to be interesting.
That would be interesting. Okay, so my last question. I'm a regular person. I still have a 9 to 5. I'm not some, crazy billionaire here, like we've seen. I didn't get into Bitcoin too early, but if I was to start mining, I know there's companies that you can pay them to mine for you overseas in places that are, let's say, colder, where it might not be as expensive to generate electricity. And then there's also things that I can buy, and I can build a little mining farm myself if I buy things like GPUs or an ASIC and I put it together. For me, would it be more, I guess, economical / would I see better profits if I was to invest into one of these companies and pay them to mine for me? Or would it be better for me to just buy things and mine myself? What would you say about that?
So if you have never done anything and you've never tried it, the first thing I would tell you to do is jump on NiceHash, get your desktop, and run NiceHash on it. And NiceHash will probably give you I don't know, depending on your computer, a quarter of a Bitcoin a month, as long as you leave your computer on, depending on how long you leave it on and depending on what type of GPU you have. Just so you can kind of understand how the process and what works. And what NiceHash does is, yeah, NiceHash. Now, I'll tell you right now, it's not the best platform. It's the easiest and most convenient. So they have some fees to take money out. So you can't take it out until you have a certain amount in there. But all you're doing is leaving your computer on. And what it does is, based on your computer, it will determine what is the best algorithm to mine. And then it will take whatever you mine, convert it to BTC, and send you the BTC. So one of the more popular ones, when I had a regular HP, it was mining Monero, and then it would convert it to BTC and send it to me. You just kind of get in the habit of understanding what the different speeds mean, as far as what you're mining and potentially what you want to mine. You'll kind of just get forced into looking at certain things. Once you have that experience, then it's a matter of determining how much money you have and how far you want to get into it. A lot of different factors go into answering your question. So it could be very dependent on the cost of electricity. If I'm speaking about Miami, I think it's like 7.5 cents per kilowatt hour, which is very expensive. One of the larger facilities in the country, they usually offer 4 cents per kilowatt hour, which is half that. And if you're in China, it's like a penny. Venezuela's free. So that's why you see a lot of people mining in those countries.
Wait, Venezuela is free to mine?
Yeah. That's why everyone, yeah.
Well, okay, this is news to me. I didn't know that. What am I doing in the U.S.? What am I doing here? Every time I look at another country, they have something better for me to go live. That's crazy.
Yeah, but over there, it's dangerous as far as, they'll rob you and take all the equipment from you. So you've got.
Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Well, there you go. I at that rate, if I'm running a mass mining operation, like I'm hiring security at that rate, obviously. But that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so again, the electricity is a huge factor. If you are going to use one of those pools or farms that mine for you, essentially what they do is they have a slot with a machine and they tell you, okay, this is the machine, this is what it averages, we will charge you this much per month, and we will give you whatever it mines. Now, I've always been a little hesitant on those companies because I've heard some horror stories, right? They take your money and run. They never send you the BTC. They tell you that you're accumulating a certain amount. And at the end of the day, when you try and take it out, nothing's there. So, always be diligent and take out as much as you can whenever you can. Move it into your own storage, however you're doing that. And make sure, I know colder areas is preferable, but try and stay as local as possible. So if you have to go there, it's great. I know folks in Miami that have built facilities in cold areas. So if you would like to consider something like that, I can try and get that company. That way you can engage with them locally. But a lot of different things go into it. I wouldn't say mine at home. It's expensive. GPU mining is kind of, I don't want to say it's dead, but it's not as lucrative as it used to be. But the barrier of entry there is cheaper than before, so that's good. Not sure if I answered all your questions, but
just about. Okay. I'm definitely going to go check out that NiceHash that you mentioned. I've never done it. Just out of curiosity to try out. I'm going to do it. Hi. Okay, so now I'm just going to open up the crowd to any questions. You guys feel free to raise your hand. I'm going to turn that participation panel on, and I will give you access to either come up or speak, or you can stay where you are and I'll amplify your voice. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them at this time. All right, looks like we got a question from Chad Duck.
Oh, the guy that was on stage. Chad.
Don't know. I think, okay, I'm going to remove him. All right. Question from Rick. Rick, go for it.
So you called that the site, if you just wanted to run it on your computer, it's called Nice Hash, and it's a program you download, and then you just sign up for it and you run it, and then you can generate a quarter of a Bitcoin every month?
Give or take, depending on your computer. Don't want to guarantee that's the amount, but yeah, essentially what they'll do is it will sweep your computer and say, okay, this is the GPU that your computer has, and based on your GPU, I'm going to check various different algorithms that are SHA 256 or whatever the case may be, depending on all the different currencies. And then it will determine what's the most efficient to mine, and it'll just start mining for you using your computer. And then at a certain point, it will take that, sell it, convert it to BTC, and send you the BTC.
Can you also use coterminously? Can you use the computer for just doing home computing and have it mining in the background?
Yeah, but what will happen is it might slow your mining speed if you're doing certain things. So there's a lot of features that you can edit on NiceHash that make it convenient for you to use it as a regular computer and to mine. So for example, you can, if your computer ever turns off, automatically turn on and turn on NiceHash. That way you know you're always mining. If I'm using a certain program, always turn off NiceHash and always turn it back on when I'm done with these programs. You can do certain things like that.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah, no problem. One thing I will say is if it's something that I recommend you do for a couple months and then determine how you want to get into it. I started off with that, and then once I determined I wanted to get into it, I figured I'm going to just build out the computer I'm having into something stronger. I bought a different motherboard. I bought 6 GPUs, and I kind of started at that rate. At the time, each GPU was a couple $100. Right now, they're about $70. So it's not too expensive to kind of get in there. Again, what you're mining now is a lot less. It's crazy how the value of a GPU is really determined by cryptocurrency. Same thing goes with ASICs. So if at any point you want to get into ASIC mining, you do need to consider changing your electrical outlets for that amperage, and just kind of consider those costs as well.
And this solution with the NiceHash, it's really pretty turnkey. You just basically install it and forget about it. You really don't have to know a lot about the technicalities of making settings and doing different things in it. Is that correct?
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a game changer for me too. I didn't know about it.
What I would say is be cognizant of how much more you're paying in electricity.
Yeah, I don't pay anything in electricity, so that's why it's a good option for me.
Oh, perfect. If you're not paying electricity, I'd grab some ASICs, some GPUs, get whatever you can over there and start mining. It's really dependent on the electricity cost. Aside from that,
and you said grab some ASICs and what? You cut out for just a second there.
Oh, ASICs or GPUs and start mining.
ASICs, GPUs, and start mining. Okay.
Let me see if I can send you this message. So that means sorry, I'm still new to VR world. So ASICs or GPUs. And an ASIC is essentially a computer that is meant for mining. You purchase it. You can purchase one for a couple $100, and the more efficient ones are slightly more expensive. But to give you an idea, now that Litecoin has gone through a halving, an L3 Plus is maybe $100 to $300. And once you own it and you update your amperage to accommodate, you're looking at maybe $100 to $130 a month in electricity cost. For two machines.
Oh, for two, okay.
Yeah. So let's say let's say 60 to 70 bucks per machine, and it would earn now half a Litecoin, that one machine.
Did you say it would earn a half?
Yeah, a half Litecoin a month.
Litecoin, okay.
Half a Litecoin a month?
For one machine. But at that rate, you're at a negative, right? Because
right.
Litecoin's what, $100 bucks. So and it just
if you're paying for electricity, yeah.
If you're so for the folks not paying for electricity, your cost is really the cost of your machine and the cost to upgrade your amperage. So most homes in the United States are 120, and the ASIC needs to be at 240 amp.
Ah, okay.
Now,
Gotcha.
there are some videos on how some ASICs can be ran on a 120, but the ASICs obviously don't output as strong, and but it could be done. So it's really to you. To give you an idea, I have built that out in a home before. You're probably going to want to go from the circuit breaker there, and you're looking at, if you have an electrician come, it should be under between $300 to $500, depending on how far you're running it from your circuit breaker and how nice you want to have the whole setup.
So most washer and dryer rooms have a 220 for the dryer. I guess I could just unplug that and plug the computer into there, and then once a month when I wash clothes, just unplug it. I mean, I'm just thinking for a free way to do it, you know.
Scheming over here. I think you're on to something.
I'm trying to figure out how to make some money in this.
Yeah, that might work. I will say that these machines exhaust a lot of heat. So an ASIC type of machine, so do GPUs, but not as much. But ASICs are a little loud, and they do exhaust a lot of heat. And my recommendation is not to turn them off.
Not to turn them off. Okay. Are they water cooled or fan cooled, or how do you have to put them in a large area, or how does that work?
They pretty much just exhaust the heat, and they're not cooled at all. So you've got not a large fan, but like a 6-inch CF fan just exhausting heat and blowing it out of the computer itself. So if you've got it in your garage, I mean, I'm in Miami. I have up to. Okay, so I run up to 4 machines in my garage with no problem, but it gets very hot in my garage, over 90 degrees.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's all interesting stuff. I like it. I like all this stuff. If you guys have any questions, again, feel free to raise your hand. I'll be unmuting everyone soon so you guys can mingle anyways. So you let me know. Anything you want to say before we get out of here, Fernando? Any last words about Do You Mine or anything like that?
Well, yeah. So for anyone that wants to learn more about mining, interested about potentially adding value to the network of the coins that you're actually purchasing and holding and investing in, we'd love to have you. Feel free to sign up on our website. Do You Mine? Sign up for the Eventbrite, and can't wait to meet you there.
Guys, it's free in VR, so come out. It's going to be fun. So I'm excited for it. But thank you so much, Fernando. I appreciate you coming out today.
Woo! Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Woo, thank you. I wish I knew how to do all those cool things. I will learn. I promise. I think I found something. Oh, yeah.
The emojis.
Keep joining us in VR. Also, guys, I don't know if you brought up next week, Monday, we're going to have an awesome crypto art panel.
Yes, next Crypto Monday, we will be having a art panel for anyone who's interested in crypto artists, NFTs. We're going to be having Josie. We're going to be having Bricky Bomb Bitcoin, Besa, and Johnny Dollar.
This one won't be so much NFTs. This one's specifically going to be in regards to crypto, to art, Bitcoin art. But yes, we are going to have more in regards to NFTs and all of that in the near future. Really gearing up towards December when we have Art Basel. I would love for you to tell them more about what we did last December with ArtX Tech.
If you guys look up ArtX Tech, that came up as the second crypto art event in the world in December, which really proud of that. We worked really hard on that. But essentially, it was a art event during Art Basel in Miami regarding how crypto art is impacting the world, our communities, and the event space. So it was both digital and physical. Hopefully this year we have the same. If not, we'll do full VR.
Any other questions?
No, well, I muted everyone, so you guys can all mingle. Feel free to talk. Feel free to move around. I'm going to go ahead and end our stream. I appreciate